Hey babe, I tried calling, but your phone went straight to voicemail, so I'm guessing it's dead or you're busy or something. Anyway, if you get this message, I just wanted to let you know that I finished work early today. My boss overstaffed the place, so I said I'd go home to even out the numbers, so I'm heading home, and I guess I'll see you when I get there, or if you're out, I'll see you when you get there. Oh, also, because we've got like the whole day, I might have booked a little surprise for us to enjoy. It is an overnight stay, so you'll have to pack a bag, but it'll definitely be worth it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. You don't need to worry about the kids. I've asked my mom to watch them for tonight, so it'll just be me and you. Something I can't wait for, because it's definitely been a while since we've been alone. Well, let me know when you've read this message. We've got to get to the place for check-in before 8, so if we can get off as quickly as possible, that'll be good. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Andrew, how dare you do that? Do you even understand how rude you just were? Andrew?
I'm the rude one? Well, I'm so sorry. I'll just let you get back to cheating on me then.
What? Well, look, it's not like I planned for this to happen. I especially didn't think you'd barge in on us like you did, which was extremely rude and awkward, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next time I'll knock and let you know that I'll wait for you downstairs, shall I? Maybe I'll even bring a bottle of wine or something so we can all have a big laugh about it, yeah?
Geez, there's no reason for you to be so sarcastic. I'm not trying to be rude to you, am I?
I think I'm allowed to feel angry and upset at the fact that I just discovered my wife cheating on me.
Why should you feel upset? You never buy me the things I want or take me to the places I want to go. It was kind of selfish of you, don't you think? Plus, you are never spontaneous or romantic for me, especially since we had George. And life like that can get kind of boring.
What? I buy you lots of things that you want. New clothes, jewelry. If I can afford it, then I'll get it for you. I've also taken you to lots of places and days out and weekend getaways and the like. Just because I can't afford to buy you the super expensive things that you want or take you to the most exclusive and expensive places, but I like to think that what I do for you is enough. We can't afford brands like Louis Vuitton or Gucci, and we definitely can't afford holidays to the Seychelles and places like Dubai or Bora Bora, like you want to go to. Especially with George to look after now, and think about in all of our plans. Having children is expensive, but it's definitely worth it. As for being spontaneous and romantic, I'm always asking you if you like to go away for little mini breaks, and I'm always buying you little gifts like flowers or chocolates and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's not really what I want, is it? Maybe if you actually tried to do something with your life instead of working a simple, low-paying 9-to-5 job, I wouldn't have gone looking for someone better. Instead, I'd have to go and find someone who will actually treat me right. Someone who will do what I want and buy me what I want. Oh, yeah, and just barging in on me and Jack like that? Only to throw him out of the house without his clothes? That was an incredibly horrible thing to do. You don't just do that to people.
Molly, I had every right to do that. You were going behind my back in the worst way possible. You're my wife. How could you do that to me?
Well, is it really that difficult to understand why?
What do you mean?
Fine, I'll spell it out for you. You are just so incredibly boring and dull. And that would be okay if you had money, because then I could go off and entertain myself by going shopping or having spa days, or whatever whilst you looked after George. But you're not even rich. Honestly, what kind of idiotic woman would actually want to stay with a penniless, boring loser who can't even afford to buy his wife a diamond necklace, just to show that he loves her? And the fact that you have no money means that I'm often having to look after George because we can't afford a nanny. Do you know how tiring that is? And how time-consuming? I can't even go and get my nails done anymore because George won't sit still for long enough. I can't deal with it anymore. You really should have seen this coming.
If you hate me so much, why'd you bother agreeing to marry me in the first place?
Well, I thought that maybe you would rise in the ranks of your job to a high-paying position. Then I could have had the lifestyle that I want.
So, you were literally only with me for the money?
Yeah, pretty much.
You are seriously unbelievable. After everything I've done for you, I gave up the chance to go traveling and have an adventure simply because you said it would be better to get a job so that we could get a house and settle down. You knew that it was my dream to do that, to see the world. I even asked you to come with me. How's that for spontaneity? Not to mention George. How are we going to explain all of this to him?
Well, if I had known that you would just remain a lowly, underpaid loser, I wouldn't have bothered wasting my time being with you. And as for George, he'll come live with me, of course. I am his mother.
I don't think so. He's my son too, so if I have to fight you for custody, I will.
Well, you'll be for a big fight then. I'll happily take you to court over this.
Well then, I guess we'll have to see what happens. Until then, you can move out of my home. I'll keep George here as it's a more stable environment than whatever random guy you end up with.
I don't think you're keeping the house. I am.
Actually, I'm the one who's been paying the mortgage and all of the bills, so it's actually mine.
I don't think so. The courts will definitely side with me on this one, especially considering I'll have custody of George as well. You know, being the woman and all, they won't throw me out onto the streets, especially because I have no job. They'll let me keep the house whilst you continue to pay for it. LOL.
Do you really think they'll do that?
Yep. My friend Charlotte did the exact same thing as me, and she got to keep her husband's house. He's still paying for it now, and she gets alimony off of him. It's like the perfect way to have a luxurious lifestyle without having to lift a finger.
You're a horrible woman. I can't believe I didn't see it before. All those years trying to please you and make you happy, and you couldn't have cared less about me. Do you even care about George at all?
Of course I do. Anyway, let's face it. You're not the brightest crayon in the pack, are you? I've been cheating on you with Joe for at least 4 months now, and you didn't even notice. It's kind of sad, really. Yep, that's right. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I just thought I'd let you know that I've locked you out of the house, so don't even bother trying to get back in.
Tough luck. You're not stepping another foot in my house ever again. I'll put your things on the sidewalk at some point. If you want them, you better be quick to get them.
You can't do that, especially with George about.
George can stay at the house with me.
Whatever. I'll be by later to get my things. If you don't let me in, I'll call the police and claim that you're trespassing and squatting in my house.
You do remember my friend Zach is in the police, right?
Ugh, whatever. Just know that this isn't over. The courts will decide who gets custody of George.
Then I'll fight as hard as I can to try and gain full custody on him. He'd be better off with me than with you and whatever man you decided to be with that week.
Whatever. I'm going. I'll be by to pick up some of my things in a bit. And you better let me in.
Seriously, Molly? You might have won the custody trial, unbelievably, but that doesn't mean you can just waltz into my home whenever you feel like it, especially with your new boyfriend.
The court said that I won, so it's my house, so I get to decide who lives in it and who doesn't.
You won the custody hearing, but the house was given to me because I'm the one who's been paying its mortgage. I let you stay there so that you could sort yourself somewhere new to live, and so George had a safe place to stay whilst you got sorted. But instead, you decided to move the very person you cheated on me with into my home?
Well, the house should be mine. I don't want to have to go and look for somewhere new.
Well, tough. I've been patient enough with you. I want you to get all of your things, and your boyfriend can get all of his, and I want you both out by tomorrow evening.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. This is my home, and I'm staying right here. It's the least that I'm owed for marrying you. I had hoped that by now you'd have been a rich and successful man who I could have had at least half of the money off of. But you're not. So a house is what I'll have to settle for.
Either you need to leave by tomorrow, I can stay at my mom's house tonight, or I'll call the police and have you thrown out.
Oh, please. You're just all talk. You won't actually do anything to me because you simply don't have the courage to do so. You'll just moan and whine, but ultimately, I'll win. Because I'm smarter and better than you in every way. I'll even lie if I have to. You know I can fake cry, so I'll just use that and make you look like the bad person.
Yeah, keep dreaming. It's not gonna happen.
We'll see. Though for now, it looks like you'll have to go back home to mommy and daddy. LOL.
Well, they're much nicer and kinder than you've ever been. So I don't really see how that's a loss for me. Hey Andrew, how are you holding up? Hey Matthew, it's been difficult, but I finally feel like I'm starting to get back to myself again, you know? I just feel sorry for George mostly. His parents are divorced and now he's got to grow up in a broken home. Not to mention, I hardly get to see him now. Yeah, about that. Is something wrong? Well, I don't know how true it is, but the other day I heard from Angela, my wife's sister and Molly's friend, that apparently George might not actually be yours. What? Like I said, I don't know how true it is, but apparently Molly was at a bar the other week and she was bragging about how she got you paying child support and the child wasn't even yours. She'd apparently cheated on you during your marriage. I can't... I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe she cheated, but George not being mine? Maybe you could do a DNA test just to make sure? Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't want to upset you, but I thought you should know. No, I'm glad you brought this to my attention. Thank you. Well, if you ever need someone to talk to or any help at all, just let me know. I'll be right here for you. Thank you. I might need you soon. Hey, Andrew, Mom's not happy with you. Oh, why's that? Because you've not been paying the correct child support? Yes, I have. Well, I was up until a few weeks ago. Well, why'd you stop? Mom says that she needs more money because we can't live off of what you're sending now. Well, she'll just have to get a job then, won't she? Just tell me the reason for not sending the money. Mom blames you for the lack of food. I won't pay any longer. Huh? Look, I'm sorry to tell you this, George, but I'm not gonna pay the child support because you're not actually my son. What, that can't be true. I'm afraid it is. Your mom cheated on me during our marriage and you're the result of that. I even did a DNA test to prove it. But that's not fair. You've always been my dad. I know, and I would gladly continue being your dad, but I just know that the money I send your mother isn't actually going towards you at all, but whatever she wants. If you'd like, we can try and get the court to grant me custody of you, but I don't know if they would allow it now that I'm not your biological dad. Well, maybe we can try. I miss you, and I hate living with Mom. She brings in a new guy like every week, and I'm sick of it. I want my life to be normal again. Well, then we'll definitely see what we can do about that. I just need a little bit of time to sort some things out, okay? Okay, I'll talk to you soon then.
So, did George ask why the payments have stopped? And you better have a good reason.
Well, the fact that George isn't actually my son should be good enough, right?
What? What are you on about? Don't be ridiculous.
You can give it up. I know you cheated on me, and I know it resulted in George. He's not my biological son, so technically, I have no reason to pay child support for him. If you want that, you'll need to ask his father because I'm not giving you another penny.
No, that's not fair. You weren't supposed to find that out.
Maybe next time don't go blabbing about it to everyone you know then. But now that I'm not technically his dad, the courts will side with me and make it so that I don't have to pay child support.
That's not fair. I don't care what the courts say. You owe me that child support. I want that money.
Well, tough, because you're not getting any of it.
Oh, get lost. It's not fair. I never thought you'd actually figure it out. Besides, you looked after him for all this time, so that makes you responsible for him. The court will side with me.
I've done my research. According to the judge, you'll actually have to pay me back all the child support money I've given you so far. Otherwise, they'll count it as fraud and you could get into some pretty serious trouble.
They can't do that.
Actually, they can.
I can't believe you've done this to me. It's not fair.
Well, I'm afraid that's life. Anyway, I'm gonna go and celebrate. Not only do I not have to pay you a single dollar anymore, but I no longer have to stay married to such a horrible woman. You're someone else's problem now.
But now that I've lost the child support, how am I supposed to get money?
You'll have to actually get a job, or don't. I don't really care. Anyway, I've got things to do, so I'm gonna go. Keep an eye out for a court summons because there'll definitely be one over this.
Wait, I've got nowhere to go. So maybe we can just give our relationship another go? I mean, I could stay at home and we could go to a couples therapy thing.
No way. I'm really not fussed what you do now. But it for sure won't be staying with me. You show me your true colors, and I'm not about to put myself back in that horrible situation. I'm done with you. For good.
No, you can't do that. Only I can decide if our relationship is over, not you.
Well, tough. I've decided that you and I are done. I don't want anything to do with you from this point on. Goodbye, Molly. I hope you have a good life, but it won't be involving me. After that, Molly was summoned to court, but not for the reason she thought. Me and George had put together a plan so that he could stay with me. Luckily, Molly's reckless behavior in bringing random men home helped, as the judge ruled her as putting George's safety at risk. The fact that none of the child support money I'd given her had actually been spent on George helped as well. George was put into my care, and we're actually living quite happily now. As for Molly, she now has to pay me child support, which I have put away in a savings account for George to have when he's old enough. Last I heard, she had to get a job as a cleaner in order to pay for all of this, as none of her boyfriends would give her any money. I'd say I felt bad for her, but sometimes you have to face the consequences of your actions.
I just took Mom with me, Bella. It's been decided that she'll live with us from today.
Huh? What do you mean you took your mom? Where did you take her?
She's going to live with us, doofus. So isn't it obvious she's at my house?
Whoa, wait a second now. When you say she's living with you, you mean she's moving in permanently?
Yes, what's the problem here? You always make a big deal about taking care of Mom. But I really don't think it looks all that difficult. I see it on TV a lot. How looking after elderly or disabled family members is supposedly so tough. But I think it's all nonsense.
Yeah, I can't agree with that. I don't think it's easy at all.
That's what you always say. But I think you have a vested interest in saying that. No. I guess you take care of Mom because you want to snatch her inheritance from us. You may be her daughter-in-law, but you're not a blood relative. So I won't let you do that. You got it?
You think I'll snatch her inheritance from you? I wasn't even thinking of doing that. Don't jump to such insane conclusions.
I'll be honest. I thought things were going to be so annoying when I first found out that Mom needed to be cared for at home. But it turned out to not be a big deal after all.
Of course it's a big deal. You really have no idea how tough it is. It's not easy. And this is really tough for your mom, too.
Is that so? She just lies there all day. I'm actually standing in front of her now as we speak. But do you really think it's so tough for her? It sure doesn't look like it to me. I wish I could swap places with her and be praised for doing such a great job lounging around in bed.
What are you talking about? Yes, having to lie down all day is tough for her. It must be boring. And she's lacking so much freedom because she can't move on her own.
Well, anyway, I've made up my mind. I could take care of Mom if she's just sleeping. I'll take her in, so tell my brother for me, won't you?
What? How many times do I have to tell you? It's no cakewalk to take care of her in this state. Do you understand how labor-intensive it is?
Oh, come on, it can't be all that bad. I bet you must be up to something, even though you're pretending to care. What is it that you want? It's completely unnecessary to spend so much time to take care of a person who's about as active as a potted plant, isn't it?
You seriously don't get it at all. And I'm not up to anything. You say she's just lying there, but that's exactly why she needs someone to care for her.
Yeah, calm down. Ugh, drama queen. She's just sleeping, right? Then it's fine. I'll just let her sleep on her own. She thinks it's so hard for her to just lie there. So why don't we grant her that wish of trying so hard to just sleep?
How can you say such a cruel thing to your own mother, Carol?
What? Cruel? What's so cruel about what I just said? She's a hero for just lying there and doing nothing, right? So that's why I'm saying we should just let her do that. Why do you think it's wrong to cheer for her? You're a weird one.
Why did you suddenly want to take her in yourself? Why the sudden change?
What's the matter? I don't see the problem here. Why, it's because she's my mother, of course.
You visited her a lot when she was healthy. But when she started to need care, all of a sudden, you were nowhere to be seen.
You're painting me in a bad light here. It's none of your business, though, is it? Mom sometimes calls me, so I think we're all good here.
Your mom told me when she became unable to walk, you stopped visiting her. She was sad and thought you cut her off completely.
Oh, yeah, so?
What do you mean, so?
So what? Are you blaming me? If anyone, isn't it you who should be blamed?
Huh? Me?
Do you think that I don't know anything about you? I heard the truth about you. You're not so innocent as you seem.
You heard what?
See, playing innocent as always. You have a lot of nerve to do what you did, even though you're not a blood-related member of our family.
Hurry up and say your point. What am I playing innocent about, according to you?
My mother told me the other day on the phone. She hired a lawyer to help her write her will. I heard it's because there's something she wants to leave for you. She wanted to make sure that all her assets didn't just go to their default inheritors, i.e., her children.
Something she wants to leave for me?
Oh, you sure sucked up to Mom good. You must have known that as her daughter-in-law, you wouldn't get any of her inheritance. You planned to backstab us just to get your filthy hands over our money, didn't you?
Huh? Of course I knew I wouldn't be getting your mother's inheritance. Because I'm not her child.
Oh, so you did know that you could only get her inheritance if she wrote it in her will. Oh, you sly dog.
Huh? What do you mean, Carol? I think that's pretty basic knowledge, isn't it?
Oh, well, consider me impressed. I thought you had a pretty small brain for someone with a head as big as yours. But I misjudged you. You're smarter than you look. Well done, Bella.
Ugh, honestly, what is your problem? Why are you being like this to me?
You really do have some guts, don't you? Keeping my mother near you all this time, taking credit for taking care of her. When in reality, all she's doing is lying down all the time. Oh, it must be so hard for you and Mom both. Oh, your poor tragic heroes. What a great way to trick Mom into thinking you're some saint who saved her, just so she would put you in her will. You're out of this world. You really thought no one would notice?
Seriously? What is up with you? What you're saying doesn't make any sense. I didn't ask your mom for anything like that.
It's you who's not making any sense. There's more to this whole saga.
What is it now?
You're still working as normal, aren't you?
Yeah, so what?
It's not as if you're working less hours compared to before you started to take care of Mom, right? You supposedly needed to take care of her, but you didn't quit your job, did you? Which means you go to work the same as before. No shorter hours, not coming home early, no compromises.
Yes, but is there a problem with that?
You see? Taking care of Mom, my butt. But you're still after our inheritance. You're such an impudent scoundrel.
I've never even thought about doing such things.
Oh, don't play innocent with me. Mom does have a lot of real estate after all. I bet you're aiming for her property. It's plain to see that you're just a greedy opportunist, Bella.
No, I'm telling you, it's not like that at all. I think there might be a big misunderstanding going on here, Carol.
Anyway, I won't let things go the way that you want. All of her inheritance is mine. None of you will get a cent of that money. I'll take care of my mother from now on. So it's only fair, don't you think? Be sure to tell Harry what's about to happen too.
Look, I'm not sure how I can get this through to you. I have no evil scheme to get your mom's inheritance or anything like that.
That's enough. I know you want it really. I really think you need to hop in the bath. I can smell the greed and lack of class exuding from you from a mile away.
Look, I keep telling you that caring for someone elderly or disabled is hard work.
You call that hard work? You work full time, but you could still fit it in your schedule just fine, can't you? She's doing her best to sleep, right? You think you can handle it, but I can't? Ugh, you're a stuck-up, bossy little girl. It sounds pretty easy to me. Anyone can let a patient lie down, right? Ugh, any idiot can take care of a little vegetable who can't move or do anything other than lie there and sleep.
Hi, Carol. Harry is going to pick Mom up now.
Huh? Why? Tell him to stop. There's no need for that. Huh. Looks like you really are hungry for that inheritance money after all. You will not get a single penny. I'd rather jump off a cliff than give it to you. I had Russell burn the will already.
You had him burn it? What the heck are you doing?
What a shame for you. Your oh-so-precious inheritance is gone now, along with your dreams of being a leeching inheritance thief.
I don't really mind about the will. My much bigger concern was what your mom said when she called us. She said she needs help.
What? Help her from what? She's sleeping safe and sound at my house.
She called us crying and asking us to pick her up. Harry practically teleported into the car and towards your house.
Wait, that can't be right. Are you saying she's complaining about her living arrangement at my house?
Caring for someone isn't so easy. Maybe you just aren't cut out for it, Carol. It's not something that everyone can do.
What did you just say? You haven't been doing anything for her at all, have you? So you're going to ask me to do this and that while you won't even lift a finger? So it's rules for thee and not for me, huh?
I think you completely misunderstand. Have I ever said that I took care of your mom?
What do you mean you haven't taken care of Mom? Of course. You've lived with her all this time, so it's only natural you took care of her. How else would Mom have survived all this time?
You really are old-fashioned, Carol. You're letting your presumptions blind you to the reality of what's really going on.
What on earth do you mean? Just spit it out now.
I'm saying that assuming that I'm the one taking care of your mom just because I'm a woman is outdated. Harry insisted on looking after his own mother.
Huh? Harry did?
Harry told me he can't rely on you to take care of your mom. He says he was right to take on that role in the first place. So he'll keep on doing it himself.
What? Harry is the one looking after Mom?
Oh, so you thought this would be just a breeze because I was working full-time? Harry is going above and beyond to make sure your mom's well looked after all through the day. Of course, sometimes I help him too. We've divided up our own roles, so we're both pulling our weight. I'm working, doing the housework, and most of the parenting.
You're lying to me. You can say whatever you want, but I know that you took her in just so you could take all our money. You parasite.
Look, I've told you so many times that I'm not.
Well, Mom told me that she wrote her will. You must have been the one whispering in her ear to make her do that.
Your mom decided to write it of her own free will. You'll excuse the pun. She was barely even able to hold a pen. She used every last ounce of her strength to finish writing that, so that she could leave everyone what they deserved.
What's your point? You know what you deserve from her. Nothing. It's our family's money, not yours.
But you burnt it, right?
That's right. Because I won't let you have a single crumb of the pie, let alone a slice. I don't know what was written on that will, but it can't have been anything good.
It divided up your mom's assets into thirds. One each for me, Harry, and you.
You see, that piece of paper would have taken away money from the rightful owners. I was right to burn that thing. Nice try, but now your only hope is gone. The ball's in your court, Bella.
But burning the will didn't give you the right to the inheritance money.
On what planet? What are you talking about, you moron?
You could have had 1/3 of it, if you just played nice. But you no longer have the right to it, so you'll be getting zilch.
Oh, but that doesn't make any sense. I'm her actual biological daughter. Of course I get my own mother's inheritance. Don't talk nonsense just because you won't get anything.
Ignorance sure is bliss. At least until reality hits you in the face. I think you've been watching way too many crime and murder TV shows. You destroying that will meant nothing, because you weren't the one who wrote it. Only Mom can revoke it, not you. Now you're not going to be inheriting anything at all. Man, you really screwed up here.
So what if I'm not inheriting anything? There was no way I wasn't going to get rid of that will if Mom was planning to leave you anything. I'm glad I did it, and I'd do it again.
You still don't get it, do you? You are not getting anything. Only you. That will is on file with a lawyer, and it can be easily checked. We're still in it, and so are you, but trust me, not for much longer.
What? Ugh, you and your mind games. Stop toying with me, you conniving little scoundrel!
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Anyway, you're not going to have a right to the inheritance much longer.
Well, that's fine. I don't care. I'll ask Mom to write it again.
Oh, she will. Trust me. And you better believe your name's not going to be in it. Now I think you're the one that needs a bath. I can smell the greed and lack of class exuding from you from a mile away. We weren't happy with how Carol just left my mother-in-law lying there alone all the time. So Harry went to her rescue to bring her back to our house. Carol started to avoid her mom like the plague as soon as she started to need care. She only rubbed up to her mom when it was convenient for her selfish goals of getting her inheritance. By contrast, her mother mercifully tried to leave some of her inheritance for Carol. It's ironic that Carol destroyed the will, along with her only chance of getting her share of the inheritance. No matter how many times Carol begged and cried for her mother to write the will again, unsurprisingly, she wouldn't budge. Seems like Carol made a lot of expensive purchases, relying on her upcoming inheritance to pay. But Russell, her husband, found out that Carol would no longer be making him rich. He kicked her to the curb right after that. Looks like she outlived her usefulness. Birds of a feather flock together, I guess. Those two greedy opportunists deserved each other, but it seems like they couldn't stand one another. Carol came to visit our house, asking if she could crash with us for a bit. She was in a lot of trouble with her mountains of debt and being made homeless, to say the least. Harry showed no hesitation in driving her out. My mother-in-law was really down for a few days after coming back from Carol's house. According to her, Carol was also just lying down all the time, but claiming to work hard, being a stay-at-home mom. I guess she really was doing her best to lie there.